Sup guys, how we doing? Welcome back to another video. It's me, and I've just gotten home from the gym from one of the most unlikely but most rewarding in the end workouts I've had for a long time. And the only way I was ever going to get that is to turn up at least, because you got to be in it to win it. And I almost did exactly what I did yesterday and pulled the pin at the last minute and didn't go. So I had that to make up for today, but also I've been feeling really depressed this week. Work is not doing it for me anymore. You know, I'm pretty sick of it, to be fair. I'm getting itchy feet. We're winding down for the year. It's pretty boring. But you know, that is something that I don't complain about. But I thought I'd just mention, because it's a first world problem. You know what I mean? There's people that would kill for a job. But then they'd have to move to a place like Alice Springs. And what I will say is that anyone around Australia, or anyone who can get some sort of visa to come to Australia, if you want a job almost instantly, or if you want a job that is, you know, a few tiers above where your current qualification level lies, then by all means come to Alice Springs, give it a shot. But with that being said, yeah, I've just been depressed. I've been frustrated at not being able to go to Townsville yet. I just want to be beside my kids. I'm absolutely over living in Alice Springs, for one, but number two, on my own. But you know, it's the final piece of this process, final piece of the puzzle. You know, the first piece was working 2 full-time jobs, working 80 hours a week, doing whatever I had to just continue to turn up, put my health, my mental health, my physical health to the wayside. Didn't give a fuck what I had to do. All I had to do was get those paychecks coming in for long enough for the bank to give me a loan. Now I got a loan, and that house has been bought. The price has already gone up, so I feel like it was a good investment. But I had to, you know, put the work in for that. And now what I've also had to do is remain in my job for just long enough for me to continue to keep the money coming in, get the first few mortgage payments paid, my first body corporate payment up to date, rates up to date, all of the additional expenses that nobody realizes you have when you buy a house. But you know, it is what it is. I knew they were coming, so I've had to stay in this job just to make sure that I've got income coming in. Basically, at the moment, I can't afford too many weeks without an income coming in, and ideally I will be, you know, moving to Townsville very early in 2025, straight from one job to another. But even if I don't get a job before I leave, I will be leaving Alice Springs at the end of January, and that is pretty much set in stone. But it depends on how this trip over to Townsville over Christmas and New Year goes. Either way, I've been depressed, I've been frustrated. Today was the worst day. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I fucking, you know, hid away. I was just depressed. I was ruminating on regrets and old thoughts and old, you know, for the first time actually having a drink entered my brain. You know what I mean? For the first time in a very long time. Like it came in as not just a fleeting thought. It stuck around. It came back. You know what I mean? That's how I'll define it. It was a thought. It was a reoccurring thought, rather than just a fleeting one. And it, you know, it made me think: could I? Should I? And I came home after work, when I normally go straight to the gym, and I lay on my bed for 15 minutes and I shut my eyes and I thought, fuck it, get up, get your ass to the gym. You didn't go yesterday. You've been depressed the whole entire week. You know that. If there's one thing you do know for sure, you'll feel better leaving the gym. You'll feel better after a workout. You don't know how much better you'll feel, but you'll certainly feel better. And so what happened is I got to the gym and I got on the treadmill and I, you know, got to 2 kilometers when I normally shut it down and go and do some weights. And I thought, you know what? I'm actually feeling really good. Fuck the weights. No one's forcing me to do it. You know, because a lot of the time I jump on the treadmill first thing and I get through 2Ks and I get to 3Ks and I've got to shut it down when really all I want to do is continue running. Like I do enjoy running, I really do, even on a treadmill. And I just want my distances to get further and further, so my capacity and my capability grows, and I can wake up and run a marathon if I want to, or run an ultra if I want to. I can enter something a couple of weeks out and be okay. That's where I want my fitness level to get eventually. Being 7.5 weeks off the piss certainly helps. But so what I did is I stayed on the treadmill. I decided, no, not today, no weights, I don't give a shit. I'm going to stay on the treadmill and I'm going to just see how we go. And I got through 7Ks and I had my cruising pace, not at 10 kilometers an hour, aka 6-minute Ks, not at 12 kilometers an hour, aka 5-minute Ks, but at 15 kilometers an hour, aka 4-minute kilometers. I was cruising. Now, I don't know how long I could have sustained that, but at 7 kilometers, I was going to continue to go through to 10, and I was cruising at 4-minute Ks, and I thought, hang on, I'm almost at a 6-minute mile. I'm going to shut it down here. I'm going to let my heart rate just come down a little bit. But if I'm feeling this way, if I'm feeling this good, no nauseousness, it was a struggle. It's a struggle. It didn't get to that point where that lactic acid and the stomach acid starts to accumulate and just overwhelm you and you burn out, right? I didn't get to that point, and I didn't feel it coming anytime soon. So I thought, fuck it, let's stop it now. Gave myself about a 5-minute rest, jumped back on the treadmill, and said to myself, it's time. It is time. It is time. It's time to lay the fucking smack down and do your first 6-minute mile. 6-minute mile is something that has been within reach, but I've never been able to complete it because I begin my attempt normally on a treadmill, but I have attempted it outside, which would be a little bit harder depending on wind and factors and all that stuff. But today was on a treadmill. Previously, I have burnt out. I felt almost like I was going to throw up, so I decided to pull the pin. Today, I felt so capable. And going from such a depressed start to the week to a performance like this, I mean, it's just, I don't know what that says. I don't know what it means. But what it means is that I need to stop being a pussy and trust the process. And regardless of how I feel, continue to turn up, continue to improve in all areas of life. And eventually my fitness will improve and it will get to the point where I want it to get to, which seems so far away right now. But if I continue to set PBs, be they mile PBs or fucking 50k PBs, it's still PBs and it's moving in the right direction. I'm 34. I feel like running is a sport that you can do into your 60s. And that's something that excites me. And not a lot excites me. Okay, not a lot about life, being that I'm mid-30s now, fucking stuck in Alice Springs, excites me. But there is one thing. One of a few, of course, but one that remains and will always make you feel better after completing it, and that's running, and long distance running. And it's an adventure. It's an adventure. Every time you set out and go for a long distance run, it's an adventure, and there's nothing like it. Nothing beats it. But today it was all about pace, and pace we had. My very first 6-minute mile, 5 minutes, 49 seconds on the treadmill. I reckon I probably could have pushed it to about a 5:40. And that's absolutely flying. So there's actually an athletics track, an international standard athletics track, 400 meters in Townsville. And I just happen to have some medium track distance spikes in my suitcase. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get them out. I'm going to put them in the suitcase, pack them, take them to Townsville, and try and lay a 6-minute track mile down. And that's going to be fun, and it's going to be aesthetic. There's nothing more aesthetic than a beautiful morning with an athletics track. Being in New Zealand, growing up in New Zealand, we never had an opportunity to run track. We didn't have tracks. We had a grassy field. And unfortunately, I never got an opportunity to get trained and actually run track. But I feel like if I had the opportunity, I would have absolutely loved it. All distances. There's something about an athletics track that just gets me going. And yeah, so you can expect that. Thanks for watching, guys. I don't know what the title of this video is going to be, but I had to make the video because I am just feeling a runner's high like no other. My very first 6-minute mile, and absolutely fucking, kicking goals. So the thought of drinking today has been removed, well and truly, but it was present and it was persistent, but we got through it. So the title of this video would probably be something along those lines. Pushing through alcohol craving. Look, I don't know. I'll think about it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.